everybody, welcome to Downballot. We usually do the show live Tuesdays at 7:30 p.m. Pacific on Twitch. It's twitch.tv/Echoplex Media. Today we're just doing a re-record. We had some technical difficulties the last time we tried to record. You can support this project at patreon.com/Echoplex or at eplex.store. And if you subscribe at the $5 level or higher on either place, you get bonus content, basically just our live shows in their entirety, sent straight to your inbox. I'm producer Dave, and you can find me at Plex-Dave on Blue Sky.
And this is the Councilman joining you as always. You can find me on Blue Sky at PJ Allen TWO. And you can also find me in the club, bottle full of bub, my mouth. You can find me playing hide and seek with the bad baby. You can find me just about anywhere in San Jose these days. I get around, round.
Very nice, very nice. Well, thanks for doing this, doing a makeup on this with us. This is good. I like putting out shows, so it's important. What do we got for leading off this week?
Well, we got to stay regular, right? So keeping with that regularity, we got to go back to San Jose and talk about Mayor Ed 209. As you may know, every year or so, there's a census or a count of homelessness in Santa Clara County and a count of unhoused peoples. And this year's count showed an increase in Santa Clara County of both those things, homelessness and unhoused. And Mayor Ed 209 at the time in San Jose said, hey, let's cool our jets before we make any assumptions about what's going on in San Jose. We can't, just because San Jose is half the county, doesn't mean that necessarily things went up in San Jose. You know, we've been doing a whole lot to invest in shelter beds and safe sleeping sites and tiny homes and all these things that he's been touting, right? So I'm sure things probably look better here, but it's not the case. We're going to find out more from NBC and hear from the mayor about what he thinks.
New data could have some San Jose residents asking what gives. A recent count shows that despite a $1 million investment to address the city's homelessness crisis, there are a record number of unhoused people living on South Bay streets. Investigative reporter Hilda Gutierrez spoke to San Jose Mayor Matt Mahan about these findings. Hilda.
The data comes from the latest point-in-time census, which offers a snapshot of sheltered and unsheltered people experiencing homelessness on a single night. Last month, the county report revealed there are more unhoused people in Santa Clara County than ever before, more than 10,700, an increase of 8% between 2023 and 2025. Now we know 6,500 of those people live in the city of San Jose, meaning the homeless population there grew by 3%. But the report wasn't all bad news. It also shows that the city has increased the shelter rate to 40%. We asked Matt Mahan, how is it that both the number of unsheltered people and shelter beds are going up?
How can these two statements be true?
We have inflow and outflow. It's not a static system. In fact, right now, one of our big challenges is for every person who we stabilize and graduate out of our shelter system, we still have more than one becoming homeless. So we have to keep working on identifying and investing in solutions that will reduce that inflow.
Mayor Mahan also says he believes the city is in much better shape than the state and the county when it comes to shelter rates, and he attributes that success to his strategy of focusing on finding interim housing for unsheltered individuals. But the mayor also acknowledges that to completely close the gap, they'll have to address systemic problems pushing people out of their homes in the first place, like housing affordability. I'm Hilda Gutierrez, NBC Bay Area. We investigate.
Hilda, thank you.
So, the first time we tried to record this, I mentioned like that they had said that they spent $1 million on it, and I was like, oh, I don't know about that. I think she maybe misspoke. Maybe she was just saying a recent program that it gave an additional $1 million to whatever this problem is. Because I can't imagine like the city of San Jose only spending $1 million to help to address homelessness.
It wouldn't even buy like a condo.
Right.
Yeah, no, that's not the case. I'm almost positive that Jessica either misread the teleprompter or the teleprompter missed a word like multi-million-dollar or hundreds of millions of dollars, because that's really what it has been. The city may not be in the hundreds of millions category, but in partnership with the county through Measure A, which was a voter-approved ballot measure and a bond measure, the county has spent $900 million in the past less than 10 years since that measure was passed on affordable housing production, preservation, mostly production. And the city has spent in the tens of millions for sure, and continues to spend great gobs of money, and not just $1 million. It's not going to cut it. This is a classic case, unfortunately, of that flub or typo aside, of the mayor trying to have his cake and eat it too, or just, I don't want to put it all on him. This is a lot of folks in his position. Mayor Ed 210 is similar, where they push very hard, and they push very hard in their campaign and in the budget process, and in his first couple of years as mayor, on these immediate solutions, the interim solutions, the shelter beds, the safe parking, safe sleeping sites, any places that they can shuffle away the unhoused to where they're not visible to your former neighbors in Blossom Valley, producer Dave, or his neighbors, the mayor's neighbors in Blossom Valley, or his former constituents in Almaden Valley, or Willow Glen, or my neighborhood. So my neighbors don't have to see these, skeevy homeless people. We'll just shuffle them off to these emergency options to win political points and to curry public favor. Even though he knows, and he admits in this story, that it's really systemic problems. It's prevention that's addressing systemic problems and addressing prevention of becoming homeless in the first place. That's what's going to really not solve the problem, but move the needle in a very substantial direction. He knows it. Advocates know it. Studies show it. Investment in preservation and prevention and protection in the first place is the best way to prevent people from becoming homeless, and to reduce the number of unhoused people, and yet to curry political favor and public will and win elections. It's entirely the opposite that's being stressed by the mayor, at least in his policies and proposals. And yet in this story, right, he's trying to have his cake and eat it too. He's trying to say, oh well, we need to do more on this side, when he's doing anything but that. He's actually divesting their city tax funds that the council decided. In putting a ballot measure before the voters, the council said, we're going to spend this money on affordable housing. We're going to build affordable housing. We're going to preserve affordable housing. We're going to protect renters. That's what this money is going to be for. Please vote for it. Since they couldn't make it a specific tax that was going to do just that, simply because the voter threshold was too high to approve it. So they said, trust us. Please, vote for this, and we'll spend it on this. Well, the mayor and his allies have completely backtracked on that, and have now reallocated funding to emergency and interim solutions and shelter solutions, and away from affordable housing to a significant extent. So this is obviously the mayor Ed 209 talking out of one side of his neck and then breathing out of the other side, and talking to one group out of one side of his face and the other side of his other face. So
if you remember during COVID, right, I actually took advantage of this for just a couple months during COVID when things were not great. But the state backstopped people's rent. And I was reading the if I'm not mistaken, it was the progressive enclave of Salt Lake City continued a program similar to that for people after COVID. Not as big and robust, but it seems to have had an impact there, where stopping the influx of people losing their place or whatever, has had some kind of impact. If it's not Salt Lake, it was some other place where you wouldn't expect it. It might have been Boise. You know what I'm saying? It's one of those, a blue dot in the middle of a red place, but it wasn't you would expect a city like San Jose or San Francisco, Oakland, maybe New York City, Chicago, one of those cities to be the ones doing this. And it's one of these sort of farther inland cities that did it, and it seems to be working pretty well. And you would think that San Jose has the largesse to implement a program like that.
They do, or at least they have the money that voters have approved. Like I said, tens of millions of dollars in a tax measure that really it doesn't even tax that. It taxes the rich, basically. It taxes large property sales. Any property sales over $2 million get an additional tax. And that money goes into this fund. They've just basically reappropriated it to different means than the voters really intended it to. But there's no legal binding because the ballot measure itself was much more broad. It's just that the council adopted a policy at the time and said, we're going to do this, but any given Tuesday, the council can change their policy, and that's what's happened here. It's actually not terribly surprising to hear that if it is Salt Lake City, that actually makes a little sense. Remember, Salt Lake City is governed by, and Utah is governed by Mormons for the most part, the Mormon philosophy, right? And more of a non-secular kind of governance. And yet, religion and Christianity especially is very, and all religions really are concerned with the well-being of your fellow people, right? Of all God's ideally. Creation. Like you're supposed to celebrate all of God's creation, right? As worthy. So in that regard, like the compassion is not terribly surprising. And in a state like California, where it is governed by tech bros and by industry for the most part, and not necessarily by those kind of values. Yeah, right. Exactly. It's not governed by necessarily those kind of Judeo-Christian, Islamic, Buddhist values of the one, and Hindu values of the oneness and the celebration of all of creation. So, yeah, it sounds terribly surprising that California can be a little cold in our philosophy. Did you know one interesting note I heard the other day? It was something like progress, like if you're the vote, everyone who voted for Biden or who votes Democratic lives within like 10 miles or something, or 50 miles of a coast or something like this, or 100 miles of a coastline, something like this, right? In America, just emphasizing that most of us are on the, in the major cities, and then everyone else is kind of in the middle, kind of figuring shit out. Thought it was a very interesting stat and very, very resonant for sure. But it's surprising that we don't see more compassion from our policies here, and it's getting very cold and then very tech-y and very AI. So it's exactly what you'd expect from a tech bro mayor, right?
Yeah.
Is this cold kind of, what, like I constantly think about, what did this guy's business actually accomplish? Like, what did his tech business do, right? It was supposed to be this organizing platform for politics, and I don't think it actually did anything. Like when I look at the Wikipedia or whatever, at the history of it, it's like it did nothing. It really didn't accomplish anything other than get sold,
right?
And make him a bunch of money.
It paid off him and his kids' houses, right?
Right. Paid off his house in San Jose and his kids' houses and wherever, in their college tuition, all of that. Yeah. So I don't.
All good things, by the way. If you can afford to buy your kids a house, fucking buy your kids a house.
Do
My
it.
God,
do it. Why wouldn't you with all that money? Like, I wouldn't know what to do with all that kind of money, honestly, other than buy my kids shit.
Yeah, I do with all that.
Oh, money. Dude, you'd be on my list. You'd be you'd be on my list. Make
sure to check it twice.
Right. How very strange. I'm suddenly hearing you a lot better through my cans. But anyway, so yeah, we'll obviously keep tracking the mayor as he tries to, be everything to everyone, everywhere, all at once. But you really can't, as I said in the show before, you really cannot have your cake and eat it too. You can't be part of the problem and part of the solution at the same time, or at least you can't purport to be. You can change, you can pivot, but you can't have both at once.
And I mean, this is more like a systemic America problem too, because like a lot of European countries, they just don't have a homeless problem like we do here, they like in the even in like the UK, which is like hyper capitalist. Now, there aren't a lot of people, as they would say, sleeping rough in like London or Bristol or wherever. It's just the government. There's public housing, what do they call it, council flats or whatever, I think it is, where just the government provides you the housing and like sort of means tests your ability to pay and works from there and stuff. And it's like, we can do that here in the United States. And I've said this over and over and over again. We got really kind of fucked over by like big cities in like the Northeast, where they built these housing projects and then didn't maintain them. And now, now the housing projects are, as they would say, the projects. Whereas when they were first built, they were like these great places for like low income people to live. But as time went on, the funding for it just sort of kept getting put further and further down the list, and the places got into ill repair. And now like public housing has a real bad name, a real bad rep, because of mistakes that were made, basically 30, 40, 50 years ago, and in the way that the public housing was funded in cities like Detroit and Chicago, and
we have to maintain it, and that's another thing that the mayor's policies are doing is bringing online all of these shelters and safe sites that now need to be maintained too. So it's not like you're saving money up front by just creating a bunch of beds. I could put a bunch of beds in my backyard right now or in my garage to house some people, but you still have to maintain it. You have to have staff and services and all that other stuff. So and it's not as fast as he thinks. There's a safe sleeping site that's coming online later this summer that was supposed to be, he said would be online in March, but he didn't. You have to put in, sewer. If you want to have toilets, you got to have sewer lines. If you want to give them food, you got to have safe places for them to get their food. If you want to have, power, you got to tie into PG&E.
You end up spending so much goddamn money that you might as well just build fucking apartments, right? Like,
well, and they're going to cost $2 million. The site's going to cost $2 million a year just to operate and maintain. And not that that's a huge chunk of change. Like we said, that's like 2 condos, but still it's money that could be invested in 2 condos that will house people permanently. Right. So, we'll be tracking this. We will. And I guarantee you, if the numbers don't move in a more positive direction overall, whether it's the unhoused or just the overall homelessness population, the mayor is going to pay for it in 2028. I mean, it's not common for incumbents to get challenged, but if there's a significant challenger to the mayor in a few years, and there hasn't been significant progress on this, I think the current mentality of the voters out there is to kick his ass out and find someone else. So maybe he's angling to get out earlier, like you've said before.
Yeah, I think I'm not like more than 50% sure, but I think there's a good 15-20% chance that Matt Mahan is running for president.
Yeah, I would put the same money on the governor's race too, even though it's a little closer. But I think he could very easily jump into that race late. It's really crowded. There's not a real strong front runner, other than the lieutenant governor, who has her own independent wealth that she can spend in her race. It's really why she's a front runner. And he's got money. We've already covered that. And he's got a lane.
Right.
So
I imagine the lieutenant governor would be to his left. He would be tacking toward the center from her. I imagine. I'm just guessing because of the kind of Democrat he is.
Yes and no. Yes and no. There are more progressives in the race or candidates who are more progressive than the lieutenant governor by far and have good, Democratic Party and or public bona fides for running. So, yet to be seen. But the point is, it's just a crowded field, so anyone can jump into that and get into the top 2.
A lot of the talking heads are basically saying that everybody's waiting to see if Kamala Harris gets in, which I think is unlikely. I think it's unlikely.
It gets more and more unlikely every day that she doesn't make a move.
And she isn't even doing any. She's not. I don't even know what she's not even making any. Like, it doesn't seem like she's doing any of the sort of things you might do if you were sort of even thinking about it. You don't see her showing up at other at charity events in Los Angeles, San Francisco, Sacramento. You're not seeing any of that.
Sure.
So,
I mean, to be fair, she's the one person who could just jump into this race anytime, and she's got the instant, infrastructure and money and support, and she could jump in anytime. She could jump in the day before the filing deadline and not make any moves before that, and still be the front runner simply because she would suck all the air out of the room on the Democratic side.
Yep, that is true. I hope she doesn't.
And then that opens up the door for Mahan, honestly, to come in as sort of the antithesis, like that the moderate Democrat. He's not a Republican. He's not one of these crazy Steve Garvey wackadoos. Like he's the mayor, right? Like of the 12th largest city or the 3rd largest city in the state, right? He's got a resume, and he's not crazy, and he's a very tactful politician. So. Suddenly in a race where it doesn't matter what party you're in, you just have to be in the top 2 to get to the runoff. I think he'd have a pretty decent chance, honestly. But we'll see. I with you as well too. I would put 15-20% on the presidential run. Why not? Just go for it. I mean, he's 35.
I mean, I think that a lot of people, and I don't want to spend too much time here. A lot of people don't think it's time for AOC, but I think actually this might be her moment too to run for president.
Let's go. Fucking. Oh, dude, I'm ready. I have my donation ready. I want my hat. Like, let's go. AOC 2028. I'm on it.
Anyway, let's move on up to where I live here in Oakland. This is also about our homeless population up here, and this is about interim housing, and it has been derailed probably by Nimbys, I'm guessing.
Yeah, I mean, this is sort of the why we can't have nice things and why we're in a housing crisis in the first place. Because even in places like Oakland, where it's desperately needed, the neighbor tends to step up and stop projects. So here we go, a little story on that.
A new twist in the controversial proposal to build interim housing for medically fragile homeless residents in downtown Oakland. Following a flood of community complaints, it appears this deal is now dead. NBC's Alyssa Gord explains how the proposal lost steam and what comes next.
Local nonprofit Cardea Health says it's been working with the city of Oakland for a year on a proposal to build a 150-bed interim housing site for medically fragile unhoused people in the city's downtown corridor. The site was meant specifically for people too frail to stay in a regular shelter. The group says it secured $30 million in grant funding and found a likely location, the Courtyard Marriott at 9th and Broadway in Oakland's Chinatown. But a few weeks ago, they contacted Councilmember Charlene Wong, who represents the district, and hit a roadblock.
I ran to really protect and revitalize the Chinatown community, and going with this would be the opposite of that.
What?
And so I told them, no, we cannot support it.
At a press conference today, community members shared their objections to the proposal in English, Cantonese, and Mandarin. Neighbors say they feel blindsided and worry about a new facility right next to where hundreds of Chinatown seniors already live.
It's not going to work. Way too big. And besides, there are associated issues like safety, support services that has not been addressed.
We have no intention to oppose anything to build a shelter to help the houseless. Just this case, it happened so fast.
Councilmember Wong tells
It's so fast, and it's right in my neighborhood, so...
Yeah,
but it just so happens that this one is next to my house.
now been canceled, and she believes the property is backing out of the deal. Cardea they are no longer in contract for this project, saying that they hope that this site can be used for Oakland in the future. We're told they're looking at an alternative site in the city's Hegenberger corridor, an area that already has many homeless service facilities.
We do need encampment resolution, we do, but we need to, as a team, really look at the sites that are available before us.
Tonight, there are still key questions about what comes next. Among them, what will happen to all the grant money Cardea secured? And can Oakland find a site that actually makes sense and the community will approve? Alyssa Gord, NBC, Bay Area News.
Man, that's bullshit. That's a great place. That's a great place for this, because it's like, if these people are this, they said medically fragile, it doesn't mean they're all bedridden and shit, but like, this is that's one of the most walkable parts of Oakland.
Yep.
Like, there's shops, there's like everything you need is like right fucking there.
That Hagenberger corridor, it's really on the rise.
I mean, if that's when I just saw this, I thought at first it was probably going to be there, because that's where they seem to be dumping all the fucking... Oakland seems to just be putting all the shit they don't want anywhere else in that Hagenberger corridor.
Well, pretty much. And that's what Councilmember Wong and others will suggest. It's not surprising that she was the the linchpin behind this and the community fulcrum behind this. Councilmember Wong has been making a name for herself as a NIMBY, as a NIMBY apologist, a NIMBY supporter, and probably for good reason. I'm sure she feels like that was the contingency that got her elected, the Chinese American population, the immigrant population, that fortunately or unfortunately is constantly, I feel at least, used as a pawn, manipulated in a variety of political games, especially around recalls and other more concerted efforts to attack projects or politicians that they don't like or disagree with. And Councilmember Wong, during her campaign and throughout her very brief tenure in office, 7 or 8 months, has already proven, and she's been on down ballot multiple times now, backing issues like this. Neighbor stepping up, or one contingent stepping up to block projects or to stall out projects or to change things that the greater good, the greater populace, the greater population, the greater city has kind of agreed to and supports, simply because they They don't want to see it, or they don't like it, or they don't like coming to their neighborhood.
I just wonder if I was to walk around Chinatown, like just walk around, and they're calling it Chinatown, but this is downtown Oakland. This is like on your way from like the 12th Street BART station, like the big like 12th Street downtown station, on your way from there to Jack London Square, essentially. Yeah. And I bet if I asked people like in front of the hotel, like, hey, would this hotel be a good site for people who are of low socioeconomic status and need a place to stay where there's services for them? I don't think the average person would be very pissed off about that.
Probably not, because they're dealing with them every day already. Like, that's the thing that I don't get, folks, especially from the neighborhood. It's like, okay, so you're cool with them like coming through the neighborhood, coming into your business, just, having serious mental episodes in the middle of your neighborhood, just on the street with no services at all to help them, or to and no buffer, for you and your business. That's better. That's a better situation for your business or for your family and for your safety. I don't understand that. That argument has never held a lot of weight with me. The guy says, "Oh, we need more security and more services." It's like, that is exactly what this is purporting to provide, is safety and security, not just for you and your business or whatever, and it's for them. It's for the folks who can't help themselves right now, right? Safety for them and security for them, and a safe place for them to stay, so that they're not a danger to you and they're not a danger to themselves or to others, right? That's what this is about. So that it happened. It's constant. It's a constant refrain. We hear it a lot on Downballot, and we hear a lot from Nimbys of all stripes, from all towns. Doesn't matter where they're from: Chinatown, Japantown, Russian town, whatever, man. Little Saigon, the East Side, La Avenida. Nimbys are Nimbys, no matter where they come from. And it's just tiresome to hear this argument over and over again about safety and security when the numbers don't play it out. And it's like we're trying to house folks to create more security, to create more safety, so they're not on the street.
And so not for nothing, you were talking about how these safe, housing sites that they're proposing in San Jose need all this infrastructure. Well, that's a hotel. It has the infrastructure. Everything's there. There's a kitchen. There's a kitchen in there. There's common areas for people to hang out. There's I don't know if that hotel's been like out of service for a while. It might need some work, but there's fucking adequate plumbing. Yeah.
Free coffee in the morning and continental breakfast. I mean, I'm kidding. No, but no, these places do provide 3 squares a day. If there's a nonprofit provider, usually they're providing 3 squares a day
this
for
has
folks
a fucking
too. So
fully, like, some of the stuff might need upgrading or replacement if the kitchen's been sitting there, but that's a fully functional kitchen.
Yeah, it's built for it. Exactly.
And there's not a lot of like Hagenberger. I mean, there's old hotels there, sure, but like, I don't know, man.
Like you said, there's no community around. There are no services. There's no infrastructure there in the broader. What can you walk to? Like Jack in the Box, right? Like,
yeah, there's
shit
nothing
there.
Ain't shit there. Yeah. And I think like you run the risk of essentially turning that area into what we would in another country call a slum.
Sure.
Right?
Or the ghetto, right? Or the projects. All the bad words that we're using now that didn't used to be bad words.
Right. And now if the plans here were to start propping up 6-7 story apartment buildings for the homeless in the Hagenberger corridor, well, over time a community forms there, and there's definitely reason that a person wanting to open let's say a grocery store might be inclined to take a risk on that neighborhood because there's all this housing, but that's not what's going to happen.
No, not at all. It's just going to die, frankly. And these projects work on a razor thin margin already between political and public will and then actual financing. So anything like this, any kind of pushback or blowback can blow it over. And that's how we end up in this situation, because enough of this happens enough, whether it's Willow Glen or it's Chinatown or it's Oakland or it's San Francisco, it doesn't matter. This happens enough that we're woefully behind on the numbers we need to make sure that rents and costs are reasonable and affordable for folks. I mean, low income in Santa Clara County now, Producer Dave, is $125,000 a year. That's low income. That's frightening. But that's absolutely what the situation is. So we've got ourselves in this position because we've allowed this mentality to persist, because it's easier to win elections this way. I think it's just going to start snapping back now because we haven't done enough, and now the problem is much bigger than any one solution, and it's much bigger than any one person. So anyone who says they're going to solve the problem is really treading on, walking on coals, because there's no solving this problem. There's helping the problem. There's moving it in the right direction at this point, but there's no solving it anytime soon.
And I also just think about if that's your relative or whatever, right? And you can go visit them in this facility that used to be like a Marriott hotel. You just feel like you're visiting them. Like they have a room with a bathroom and a door they can lock and some privacy. And you just feel like you're like, hey, this is actually, this isn't the best thing ever that could ever possibly happen, but this is like dignified shelter for somebody who needs it.
For sure.
And it's crazy that they don't want that there, because I don't know, like some of those people are going to shop at the shops and stuff. They're not, I don't know what they think who they think is going to go in there. These are people who have medical problems, who need some medical attention, but I don't know. They're not like bedridden. And these are, I don't know. This is like the part of that population who is, I think, would be least likely probably to be some kind of security risk to your neighborhood.
Well, they'll be in a place where they can go, and they're not just sitting on the street, right? They will have a place to go, and that instantly is going to create more safety and security for you and for them. So that's why it doesn't make much sense. Like, I don't understand how the status quo is better than anything else, right? Like any kind of solution, no matter if it's next door to your business or it's across town, right? Like at this point, if someone's willing to put something up like this, then we got to do everything we can. And the Nimbys are going to be there everywhere. Every one of these arguments, they're going to be there. The question is, where are we, right? Like, where is our community? Where are our advocates? Are we going to step up and counter them every chance we get, so that we can, and with a louder voice, so that we get what's needed and what we know is needed? Not what we want, but what we know is needed. It's on us. It really is on us. We can expose all these folks all the time on our show, but listener, viewer, it's on you in your community. Step up.
I just this story this just really sucks, because this seems like I couldn't believe actually that where they were I was like, oh, this is great. I was like, this is great. I just thought this was like I mean, again, like it's, maybe not ideal to live in a converted hotel. You don't have a lot of space and whatever, but all things considered, I mean, this is a pretty good location. Again, if it were a little close, but it's 3 blocks from BART. Like, come on, this is like a no-brainer. There's a hotel that is obviously sitting there empty, because the hospitality industry in downtown Oakland is dead.
It's the idea.
It's partially because Jack London Square is dead, but I don't know. Are these people hoping like Jack London Square is going to come back and be the place? Like, what are they hoping is going to happen here? Like, what do they want? What are they hoping is going to happen with this building, which I assume is empty and used to be what do they think? Nobody's going to put a hotel there.
They just don't want this. They don't have any. Oh yeah, that's a fundamental. Yeah, that's a. What do you call? What did you in The Good Wife? That was a phrase you guys loved. But it's a fundamental misjudgment of mischaracterization. They don't want anything there. They don't want anything to come there. They would prefer a vacant building. They don't have a solution.
Right. Not for nothing. Like when I was looking at apartments, it wasn't like on the list of things that I might have had to do, but I saw places where they were charging like $1,000 essentially for a fucking hotel room. They were calling them SRO, single resident occupancy.
Single resident occupancy. Mm-hmm. Oh yeah.
And in this very neighborhood. So like those people, well, I don't understand what the fuck the problem is here, because those people that are in those SRO units are like right on the fucking brink probably of needing a shelter. So what's the difference? But I guess it's just the capital behind the capital behind being a landlord that pushes all that through.
It just could be the process for maybe that SRO was, by right, and they didn't have to go through a public process to get it approved, right? It was already zoned or whatever. Maybe the people didn't hear about it, right? So they didn't have a chance to stop it. So it could have been that. A lot of things, but more than likely that's what it was. Is that just didn't know about it, and then as soon as there's any opportunity, they're organized and they will get out and stop it. We do have to move on because I know we have some more things down ballot, but again, It's just, this is how we got into the problem, and all the people who are trying to solve the problem want to invest in things just like this that nobody wants.
Right. The next
So
one, we're
you're
just going to end up
in
let's build this giant skyscraper and put all the homeless in it. Fuck it.
That seems to be the idea. So we're going to find out more about that from NBC Bay Area.
San Francisco's iconic skyline again. A developer has released plans for a skyscraper that would become the tallest building on the West Coast, taller than the Salesforce Tower in the city right now. This project is being called much more than a tall tower. NBC Bay Area's Christy Smith spoke with city leaders about what this could mean for the city still trying to recover from the pandemic.
We caught up with Mayor Lurie this afternoon, and he says this is a clear signal that San Francisco is on the rise. The development would be a dramatic change for the neighborhood and the city. San Francisco's iconic skyline could be in for a new addition.
They want to build the largest tower on the West Coast.
Mayor Daniel Lurie shared the news today on Instagram and at a topping off event for a different building. He admits it's still in the early stages.
A lot to be worked out, but what I am so excited about is a full city square block being redeveloped. It's going to have not only office space, green space, retail space, but also housing. And so a major investor is believing in San Francisco and our recovery.
The proposed location is near the city's current tallest structure, the Salesforce Tower, and the new building listed at 77 Beale Street would be several stories taller.
We are very excited to see this proposal come in from Hines. They are a developer that has built buildings in the city. They have a great track record here.
That's Lee Lutensky, the Director of Development with the city's Office of Economic Workforce and Development.
They are preserving and rehabilitating.
She needs a new mic.
Office buildings on Market Street. This project includes new public open space. It includes the conversion of an older office building to residential use, as well as a brand new, very high-end office tower.
We reached out to Hines, but haven't heard back yet. But the city is hoping this is the kind of project that signals San Francisco is well on its way to economic recovery.
Investors are coming back, developers are coming back, and people are making a bet on the long-term recovery of San Francisco.
In San Francisco, Christy Smith, NBC Bay Area News.
I mean, it's cool, I guess. Like, I love big buildings and like downtown skylines and stuff. I think that shit's really cool, but I'm not sure that this is any kind of sign of any like larger trend that like they're saying here.
Yet to be seen, right? I just hope to God that they, figure out how to make the building stable so it doesn't sink. The worst thing would be to have the tallest building on the West Coast and then suddenly have it be like the shortest building on the West Coast, or to lose the name simply because it tilted too far. So please, engineers, watch out for that liquefied, landfill earth underneath the structure. But yeah, we'll see what happens. We'll see if this actually even comes to fruition. This is just an idea at this point, and money talks, especially with development. So we'll see. But yeah, a good sign, fun sign. It would could be a winner, could be a loser. That's why it's on winners and losers.
All right. Well, let's move on here. I guess in San Francisco, people are getting tickets for parking in their own driveways.
Yeah, this is a very SF story, very down-ballot-y. So I think it pretty much says it all, but we'll learn more from the news hit.
Ticket for parking in your own driveway. Several Mission District neighborhoods say that is exactly what's happening. Parking enforcement officers say they're just responding to parking complaints filed on the city's 311 system. NBC Bay Area Sergio Quintana spoke to a lot of frustrated neighbors.
This is not the way Larry Reed wanted to start his afternoon. We were with him today as he discovered a citation on the front window of his car.
All right, what does this say?
So this is a citation. This is notice a parking citation. This
$108 for parking in my driveway.
It was issued last night. According to the city's 311 system, a complaint was filed, a parking compliance officer responded, issued a citation, and the complaint was closed. Here's what the complaint was filed for.
Man, they should have blurred out Homeboy's address.
Yeah, that would have been a good idea.
Parked on the sidewalk. What's frustrating for Reed and some of his neighbors is that after years without issue, someone is suddenly calling in these infractions. A lot.
We don't know what the deal is. Is just when we park on our driveway, we get a notice.
And it's been reported at 311 multiple times. But one picture multiple times.
This is the photo that was submitted to 311 for the complaint against Yolanda's car. You'll notice the make of the car is embedded into the photo. Yolanda's son-in-law says he started noticing an interesting pattern about the 311 complaints after he also recently got a citation.
So I don't know when these photos were taken, but somebody obviously has a collection of these and is just reposting them.
We notice the same thing on some of the pictures attached to recent 311 complaints as well. Whoever is submitting the complaints has also etched extra info onto some of the photos. David Chen was with us when his neighbor Larry Reed found his citation.
There's like 10 foot of open space. It's not causing a problem for anyone with accessibility issues. It's literally somebody making themselves feel good by submitting it and trolling us and getting us tickets.
According to the SFMTA, they're not specifically cracking down or targeting any specific infraction. Instead, they're simply responding to the 311 complaints. As for the neighbors, no one is happy about the sudden flood of 311 complaints.
The thing is, it's never happened until this year, so it seems to me it must be somebody who's newly moved in.
Reed has even gone so far as to post notes on some of the light poles in the neighborhood, politely asking whomever is calling 311 or filing those reports to simply call him instead, and he will gladly move his car. In San Francisco, Sergio Quintana, NBC, Bay Area News.
I don't, is the car not supposed to stick out onto the sidewalk at all?
That's pretty much it. I mean, it's the sidewalk is considered the right of way, the public right of way, and so therefore you're not supposed to have your private vehicle impeding any part of the public right of way. Now it's San Francisco, so impeding the public right of way is kind of a fuzzy situation to begin with. People tend to, you find a parking spot in San Francisco. God bless you. So if you have this opportunity, many people do take advantage of this of any opportunity they have to park their car in SF. So I completely agree with the neighbors here. Like, what the fuck kind of neighbor are you? They call us 311 on your neighbor. Like, why? Like, what is the big beef here? Like
that dude's car was sticking out like half a foot past the fucking property line or something.
Like, and homeboy, his neighbor was, yeah, of course, anyone with accessibility issues would be able to get around that. Wheelchairs, anyone, should be able to get around that, no problem. You could probably drive another car down that sidewalk, no problem. So this is just silly season. A bunch of losers calling the fuzz on their neighbors, getting them like $100 citations, and then inadvertently, because of this local news hit, getting their address doxed on the local news, right? It's just sad. It's a sad state of affairs. We got to do better, San Francisco. Let's keep going to get your shit together, I suppose. But more, it's just like losers.
Back in ye olde times when I drove, we would for Pride, I would, like, my friends lived in the Castro, and it was after I moved out of the city. But I think it was after I moved out of it was before I moved to the city. I'd park my car on the fucking sidewalk right in front of their fucking place. But it was during Pride, so it's not like the fucking not like people with the meter maid was running up and down the sidewalks on Castro Street.
Right. And it's not like that's happening in any city now anyway, right? Parking enforcement is not exactly top priority. It's a revenue generator, but it's not like they have, they're swarming everywhere at all the times, right? And they're covering everything. I've absolutely parked my car illegally many times and not gotten a ticket simply because, I made the educated bet that the enforcement wouldn't get to me and I didn't have the time to pay the meter, or didn't want to pay the meter for whatever reason. I'm just going in to get my sandwich. Yeah, this is absolutely a complaint-driven system. So, the only reason people are getting these calls, even if it's more egregious than being a half foot out, is if someone calls it on them. And that's just silly season. I don't understand what.
It would never occur to me for it to even be weird for me to think it's weird that somebody parks in their driveway in the back of or the front of their car if they back in, hangs over the sidewalk. It wouldn't even occur to me that that's like a problem.
Right. I would walk past it and just be like, I would be on my phone just walking past it, and I wouldn't even look up. Right. It would just, I would maybe pivot to the around the car a bit. But you know what? I've lived in plenty of close proximity environments, apartments, neighborhoods with really heavily impacted parking. I lived in San Francisco, and I do recall one time, I came up to my car, one day, and there was a note on my dashboard or under my wiper blade. Learn to fucking park, you moron. That was all it said. And I think it might have been signed your neighbor, but it was like, learn to fucking park, you moron. And I looked, and sure enough, the butt of my car was sticking in someone's driveway. And I came home, was tired, whatever, had, who knows? Yeah. And just hadn't noticed, right? Walked into the house, exhausted. And yeah, I blocked the guy's driveway. So I absolutely deserved that note. But they didn't call the cops on me. They were able to get their car out of their driveway, right? Like there was no need to escalate the situation other than a nice note to let me know that. San
Francisco's the kind of place where if you get that and you see the driveway, you know where it is, you go to the guy's door, you probably just be like, hey man, I'm real sorry. I didn't mean
sorry about that,
driveway. Here's
right.
Do you I don't know, do you want, can I pick you up at lunch tomorrow or something? It's that kind of place. So.
Right. What do you like? I'll get you a 22 or something you like, whatever. Yes, absolutely. So I, as much as I could have been offended by the snarky note, I thought I took it as a sign of neighborly camaraderie. and I appreciate the fact that I did not get $100 or $200, God forbid, ticket just for coming home tired one night. Right. And most people, I think most people are. The reason why this is on the news is because it's just some jackass who does this, and the neighbors got pissed and they called the news about it, right? So I'm on the whole, I would say that neighbors tend to be chill with each other, and especially in San Francisco, figure their shit out on their own. We're just not worried about it. So I'm hoping that this is just a loser who's very much in a loser spectrum over here, and the rest of us are mostly very chill and would talk to each other.
This reminds me a little bit of, I think it was that asshole Michael Trackey was when he lived in San Francisco. I don't think he does anymore. I don't know. I haven't fucking heard about him in a while, but he was going around like on Twitter putting pictures of people's license plates and shit. Like if they were parked like with the front of their car over like a little bit over like the red zone or whatever. He was like going around like doxing their license plate numbers and shit on Twitter. Man. But it was great because he got fucking slammed on Twitter for doing it. But like this is different because I don't know if he was calling whatever it would be MTA or whatever that he would call, I suppose. I don't know if he was calling them or whatever, but it was like, dude, what? Everybody was like, why are you such an asshole? And I think the person that's doing this, that would largely be the response if their identity was exposed. People would be like, you are the shittiest neighbor in the whole neighborhood.
Right. And God, who knows? It could be just some total asshole loser who's just likes fucking with people.
Or like, when we were talking about the sex workers in the Mission, it could just be somebody that moved to like the city and thought it was the suburbs. They like, moved there because it was expensive and high status or whatever, and they got there and they were like, why is this car sticking over half a foot into the sidewalk? Right.
Or it's like a super villain origin story. Like they got a ticket once for doing the same thing. Right now, no one gets to do it. I'm going to make sure that no one gets to park a half foot into the public right of way because I had to pay for a ticket. No, it's probably not what happened.
Yeah, this is a feel bad story of the week.
Anyway, well, speaking of feeling bad, how would you feel if suddenly your house was inundated with Amazon packages you didn't order?
I have an eBay account, so I would feel pretty good actually. Because if I don't know, people don't know this. If something is delivered to you that you didn't order, be it by Amazon or via the mail or whatever, it's delivered to you. You didn't order it. You can just keep that shit.
Yeah, we'll see what was in these boxes, but apparently there was one Bay Area woman who became the centerpiece for a lot of deliveries. It must have been in Prime Day or something. I don't know, but we're going to find out more from ABC 7.
And you've never once ordered one of these car seats?
Not once, no.
In a 7 on Your Side investigation, an Amazon nightmare.
It is linked to an online seller overseas that appears to be violating Amazon's return policy.
Yes, 7 on Your Side, Stephanie Sierra investigates.
Over 100.
Kay Holton is utterly confused as to why hundreds of these large Amazon packages keep appearing on her San Jose doorstep. She says it's been nonstop for more than a year.
It started with one package, and I was like, it's got my address, but it's not for me. And I Went to my neighbors, and I was like, oh, did somebody accidentally put the wrong last digit on the address? No, nobody knew what it was.
The mystery shipping spree that's now haunting an entire half section of her carport.
And what you see now is a fraction, because I have refused delivery on more packages than you see here.
Inside each one, a set of faux leather car seat covers from a Chinese online seller called Liu San Dan Dian. The online seller's Amazon listing advertises the brand Etkin seat covers supposedly made to fit various makes and models of sedan and SUV cars. But as you can see in hundreds of these cases, the covers did not fit, and consumers said they were forced to pay out of pocket to return them to the company's so-called return center. Like this person who commented, "Why haven't I received my refund?" Was sent through UPS 3 weeks ago. Yet little do they know, they're just piling up in Kay's garage.
Oftentimes the amount it costs to return it is about more than 50% of what they paid for it, so they're just like,
The online seller put Kay's address on their return labels, leaving her stuck in this mess. She says she's contacted Amazon countless times to try and resolve this over the past year, including filing 6 complaint tickets.
Every time I was absolutely assured, this will stop. You won't get any more of these packages. You'll hear from us within 24 to 48 hours.
Nope. She says each month they just kept coming, blocking her driveway, mail carrier, and doorway, making it hard for her 88-year-old mom who's disabled.
We came home and it was like this. Couldn't even get my mother in the house. It's just been another form of hell.
And to make matters worse, she says Amazon put the onus on her to fix the issue, suggesting she give them away, donate them, or take them back to USPS or FedEx. According to Amazon's policy, international sellers must issue a returnless refund or provide a prepaid international returnless shipping label within 2 days of the return request. If sellers don't respond within that time frame, Amazon may refund the customer on the seller's behalf and charge the amount to the seller's account. That means Liu San Dan Dian would have to lose all proceeds from the sale or pay return shipping to China. Pretty pricey. So instead, consumers get stuck with the bill.
More than 40% of this online seller's Amazon reviews list a 1-star rating. And unlike other companies, this seller has no way for consumers to contact them if an issue like this comes up. Not to mention, there's no trace of this business online.
7 on Your Side asked Amazon what they're doing to resolve this and if there's any vetting process to determine companies selling on their platform actually are who they say they are. The tech giant told us, "We'd like to thank ABC 7 on Your Side for bringing this to our attention. We apologize to the customer and are working directly with her to pick up any packages while taking steps to permanently resolve this issue." And finally, after a year of waiting, some good news for Kay. This morning, Amazon staff finally removed all the packages on her property, vowing to crack down on these practices.
And I am so eternally grateful that you guys are here for us, because reaching out to you, I was in tears that somebody actually got back to me.
And now she can finally back into her own carport. For 7 on Your Side, I'm Stephanie Sierra, ABC 7 News.
Dude, I would just be, I don't have any room for that shit, but as soon as that started happening and it turned out I couldn't get it back, I'd just be on Facebook Marketplace, be like, look, these are car seat covers. You can come get as many, $20 each.
Right.
I don't know exactly what they're for. You could even try them on in your fucking car. I don't care.
Producer Dave's Car Seat Cover Emporium. Come on down.
It's like, what else would, first of all, if anything gets sent to me that I didn't order, I'm just going to fucking resell it, because that's somebody else. Like, you were within your rights to do that. And that's what I would do. In this case, because they got returned, maybe because they were sent to the, maybe the person they sent to the wrong kind of car or whatever. You could probably find like a part number, model number, something on the tag and figure out what it's for, or like someone else, sell them in bulk to someone else who wants to fucking deal with it.
Yeah. I don't know. Maybe she's not got the savvy or the desire to do that. But yeah, if you really want them gone, I just love that, Amazon's like, no, we can't do anything. We can't do anything. Oh, ABC 7. Yeah. We'll come over and pick them up right now. but to take a step back here, once they got it dug into this a little more and the reviews for this company, like, I don't know about you, producer Dave, but if I'm on Amazon or eBay or anywhere and I see 45% 1-star reviews, I don't care how many 5-star reviews they have, I ain't buying shit from that company.
Right.
like I don't have to read those reviews. Like it could be that they were goaded up, right? Like someone just got mad at this company and is harassing them with bad reviews, right? Who knows? But it doesn't take reading more than a few of them to realize this is a pattern and this is happening a lot. And the fact that this is pretty shady. That's pretty shady to do. Just pick a random person, random address, and slap their name or their address on your return labels. Shady as fuck. But hey, kind of creative. I have to give them props in some way, even though they are losers.
I wonder how they got her address. Do you think maybe? I wonder how did they just pick a random address somewhere in San Jose?
Yeah, who knows? Like, get a Thomas guide and just put your finger on a dot. Who knows? I have no idea how that would have happened. I mean, sometimes I just occasionally get the feeling like, and I don't get the sense that that's the case here, but that these are user error kind of situations. Like someone's like, oh, I can't believe this is happening, and yet they did something, or they didn't do something, or they did something they shouldn't have or incorrectly that led to the problem that they're facing, right? Almost invariably that is the case, or they're just misreading the situation, or they don't have all the facts. I kind of get the feeling like there's some sort of facts component here that's just not accurate, or we're not getting the full story. But at the same time, I've never heard anything like this, and I don't know what kind of, and can't be running a scam other than to get on the news, the local news, because she's not, like you said, she's not monetizing the situation for herself.
And maybe there's no scam to be had here. Maybe these were just manufactured improperly and don't fit.
Could be, or they got sent the wrong one, or this company is just sells a bunch of crap, right? Or doesn't sell you the brand that you bought or you didn't want in the first place, or maybe they're just shipping these things out to people, and because they're trying to clear a warehouse somewhere in China, who knows? And they're creating a front for doing it. They just want to get rid of all these things, so they're just mailing them out to random people.
I was hoping the story was more fun, like that she got like a bunch of different kind of stuff, and she's actually this set of glasses is really cute, and I'm going to use these. But
yeah, it'd be like, I'm thinking like, come inside, come check out my room of Amazon, right? Like, look at all the shit I've accrued. This is my overstock room of all the shit that's been in these packages. I'm slowly using it. Do
you need some clippers?
Socks? Yeah, do you need socks? Like, I got socks. I have many K-cups for curing for your Keurig. I got all the flavors. That would be a little more fun, but seat cover is not exactly exciting. Like laptops, things like electronics, that'd be kind of fun. I mean, maybe and that could be it. Maybe that is. I mean, maybe if it had been, she suddenly gets a bunch of Dell laptops like just dropped on her. Like, that's something that anyone could reasonably just go online and figure out how to sell really quickly, right?
After you give one to all of your fucking neighbors and all their kids, and
maybe she wasn't so comfortable about, like, I don't know who the fuck would want all these seat covers. I don't know anyone that would buy seat covers. So maybe it's just it was a threshold too far for her to monetize the situation.
But shit. I also feel like, I don't know. I mean, it all ended well that the Amazon came and took it all, but I also feel like maybe somebody more proactive could have been like, hey, like on Facebook Marketplace, just take a picture of all the boxes and be like, these are all car seat covers that keep being delivered. I don't even want any money. If you would like to figure out what these are and try to sell them yourself or whatever, please contact me and we can figure something out here.
Yeah, I don't want to be the one to point out, though, that once they cleared all the Amazon boxes, there's still like 2 old wire spring boards for their mattress springs, and then there's like some sort of grill situation that was like all dilapidated in her driveway. There was a lot of shit in her driveway already. Right. So I'm just going to point that out. She's not exactly the most proactive person to begin with about getting rid of shit. So again, this is one of the
people
things.
People are busy.
They are. You knock enough doors, producer Dave. Oh my God! Even in the most quote unquote affluent whatever communities, my neighborhood, for example, there are some pack rats out there. Holy shit! Their driveways are full of the miasma and ephemera that you just could not possibly believe stuff. And I remember distinctly going up to one person's door. I knocked, and then I was like waiting for them to come. I didn't hear anyone moving inside, and I just randomly glanced at a pile of just shit, and there was like a newspaper or something, and I just randomly picked it up and like was looking at the date, and the voter came to the door and just got right up in my face like, "What are you doing touching my things?" I'm like, "Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't know that this newspaper clipping from 1984 on top of the used, box of, or the empty box of motor oil, containers was really one of your family heirlooms." But that's the case. That's just how people are really interesting about the shit.
There's some people that just need to move every 5 or 10 years to get rid of stuff. Like, I mean, I'm not a pack rat, but you know how much fucking, like when I moved from that big apartment in Campbell, do you know how much stuff I fucking got rid of? Like that.
Yeah, you probably nested pretty good.
I didn't even know that I fucking had.
Yeah, you probably nested pretty good up in there. We're going to be renovating here in the house. We've been here for 8 years now, and I'm guarantee there's some shit up in here. Like, just look behind me. Fuck. In the office here, like, there's going to be some shit we're going to be digging out of here that it's going to blow our minds. But
maybe maybe do a yard sale.
We'll do a few. We'll do a garage sale. Oh man, the wife had the best joke about garage sales the other day. She's like, "What are you selling your garage for?" It means the housing crisis must be really bad if you're selling your garage.
We got the trash pickup saga, the Republic strike.
Yeah, good news. So if this lady does have a pileup of Amazon packages on her doorstep in the future, she can now actually get them picked up by the normal trash folks because the strike is over. We're going to find out more from the Pinole mayor, who's going to have some thoughts.
When stuff happens like this, I mean, you have restaurants who have compostables that are piling up.
In his mid-20s, Pinole's young mayor, Cameron Sasai, is shepherding his city through an age-old problem of what to do when the trash is not getting picked up. Like these cans right across the street from City Hall, garbage still stacking up 11 days after the strike began and tentatively now ended.
As you can see over here, we have tons of businesses that have been dealing with all the trash that has yet to be picked up.
NBC Bay Area watched as trucks rolled through some Pinole neighborhoods today and grabbed garbage that some customers have been collecting for almost 20 days.
It was just wonderful to see that things are happening, things are moving.
Garbage pickups will continue through the weekend, but collections have been spotty so far. And dumpsters outside some businesses are still overflowing. But Pinole's mayor says relief is on the way for everyone soon.
The full service will continue on Monday, and that's what we're expecting.
Republic Services also said it expects full service return to everyone in more than 24 Bay Area communities impacted by the strike. The union only has a tentative approval tonight, but a local union rep who helped negotiate improved medical coverage and wages in the new contract expects full support in a final vote Sunday morning.
They're actually really happy. It has a lot of language in there that protects them going forward.
Folks visiting downtown Pinole for a summer Saturday evening are happy too. Happy to hear all the garbage will be gone soon before rodents become an issue.
The last thing we need is garbage spilling out onto the streets and feeding the rats.
And there's rats, and they could come to our homes, and if they don't do anything about garbage pickup.
The mayor says he'll try to get financial relief for homes, businesses, and the city itself after the community came together to manage the trash on their own for the past 2 weeks.
The cost of a labor dispute should not be on ratepayers, it should be on Republic Services. So I will be fighting to make sure that we get rate relief for our residents and small business owners here.
Mayor Sasai says he will take a resolution to the city council to try to force Republic Services to reimburse ratepayers for 2 weeks of services not rendered. In Pinole, Tom Jensen, NBC Bay Area News.
Thank you. So that's actually, I mean, your garbage bill ain't nothing. So that's, if he's going to go to bat and be like, look, you need to refund these people for, 2/3 of, it was 20 days, right? So you need to refund these people for 2/3 of a month. That's good shit.
Yeah, that's significant for them and for the ratepayers too. Yeah, our garbage bill is like in the hundreds every year. So pay it with our property tax bill. So it may not look like a lot in the context of that bill, but it's going to be it would be significant. And there's enough customers that are talking about that. That's a huge hit to Republic, so I can see why they don't necessarily talk about that. But yeah, more pressure that the news and the mayor of Pinole and young Filipino mayor, by the way. Yeah, mabuhay. As long as they're putting the pressure on and keeping the heat on, it could make some movement. Republic gives a lot, as you would imagine, just like California Waste Solutions, which we've heard a lot about in the Shengtao controversy, and other waste providers. They donate quite a bit to local candidates and elected officials, and they sponsor a lot of events. Not the mayor of
Pinole, I bet.
No, apparently not. Apparently he was the dark horse candidate who sneaked in around their probably preferred candidate for Pinole, or maybe they weren't thinking about Pinole being a problem for them place. But so they invest quite a bit in local politics for good reason, because they deal in garbage, and when you deal in garbage, you tend to stink. So you need to clean yourself up a bit. So that's how they do it. They spend a lot in local politics. So and I have friends that work at Republic. So hi. Sorry, tell them the truth here. So they're trying to grease the skids, and some skids haven't been greased, and they're going to get blowback from those skids. And especially if it doesn't really matter how much political gamesmanship you've been doing, if shit starts to pile up on the street, like you're going to be paying for it.
Right, especially while people are paying their bill for it, right?
Right. There's a few things like, like teachers, right? Nobody wants to see teachers striking, right? There's just no one wants that. No one wants to deal with that kind of backlash.
They also it's different, I think. Like, they're going to be more likely to take the side of the teachers. I don't know. Maybe they take the side of I'd take the side of the garbage collector. Fuck it. That job's hard.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's like there's certain jobs where it's like it shows up right away in your life. Like if it's not there, like healthcare workers, right, emergency room workers, these people, truckers, people who pick up the garbage, who cook, right, and clean. If they're out of the picture, you feel it right away, and the impacts are. So you're going to see, once that happens, usually you see movement from the management, because the customer is going to start to feel it right away. So
right, and people might start telling the city, "Hey, you need to actually find a new contractor for this," and that's what they don't want.
So I'm shocked that it took this long. Honestly, I thought it would be a week, and trash, because I mean, our trash piles up, our cans full every week between all the bad babies' freaking diapers and pull-ups and poop, and then all the trash we create and all the trash she creates. Like, our trash bin fills up every week, so it would suck if it was not picked up. It would start to stink. Good on them. I'm glad they got their shit together, but there are other people out there that still need to get their shit together.
So this story actually made national news. This wasn't just a local story. I saw this I saw clips about this on CNN and stuff. So
yeah. So apparently the VA in Palo Alto, which has had its ups and downs, has been having some issues with food and unsafe food conditions, and one of their chefs called them out, and basically he got fired. I don't know if it was for this, but he's no longer working for the VA, and we're going to find out more about that from ABC.
Standards. They don't care.
7 on Your Side investigates one veteran's allegations of food safety concerns at the Palo Alto VA hospital.
A veteran and Bay Area restaurateur says he was fired as a volunteer after documenting food that was allegedly unsafely stored and served to patients.
7 on Your Side's Stephanie Sierra has the investigation.
This is all high menus.
In the Bay Area food scene, everyone knows Dennis Berkowitz, most notably the founder of the legacy Max's franchise.
Max's Diner.
His 70-year culinary career includes opening hundreds of restaurants across the country, whether it was catering for the Department of Defense, Hotel Corporation of America.
This is the Somerset Hotel.
To being the top boss of food and beverage for the Fairmont Hotel franchise in the 1960s and later Hyatt Hotels in the 1970s, when prices for a gentleman's cut roast beef was only $7.50.
This is the restaurant we had on Pier 39.
Menu memorabilia marking each decade all over his garage. The point being, Berkowitz knows his way around a kitchen and says he holds food quality and safety to the highest standards, which is why it was unusual for a veteran of the business and a veteran of the Army to be fired from the Palo Alto VA hospital as an unpaid kitchen volunteer.
I took a look at what they were doing, and I was very upset.
The The 85-year-old former second lieutenant in the Army says he witnessed food being maintained at unsafe temperatures, an alleged falsification of records from November through January last year. He says these photos he took show a few examples, like chili being stored at 95 degrees one day, 80 degrees another, and 75 degrees the next day. That's 65 degrees below the minimum requirement for storing hot food, according to the CDC. It's supposed to be at least 140 degrees to prevent bacteria.
That's the perfect incubation temperature for E. coli.
There are a number of bacteria that we know that could multiply at that temperature. For example, Salmonella, Listeria, E. coli.
Dr. Michael Stanton is a Cal State East Bay professor of public health. He says anywhere between 40 and roughly 140 degrees Fahrenheit is considered the danger zone, a breeding ground for bacteria.
Between those two temperatures, bacteria have a tendency to grow and multiply, sometimes doubling every 20 minutes.
Berkowitz says another example is the nacho cheese. Instead of 140 degrees Fahrenheit or higher, pictures appear to show it being stored at 92 degrees one day, then below 80 degrees another. And what he says is even worse, the burgers being stored at 121 degrees during one shift, down to 112 the next.
Certainly problematic and could lead to serious diseases.
According to VA lunch standards, the maximum holding time for burgers is 30 minutes.
This is almost 11 o'clock. Now, this will hold for 5 hours. If they had leftovers, they served the next day.
According to Berkowitz, here's the other problem.
They were falsifying the records.
The Army vet also took pictures of the sheet where cooks document the temperatures of food being stored. According to VA guidelines, it's supposed to be done every 2 hours for hot and cold food.
There was a book in the main kitchen that hadn't been filled out since September, and all the numbers are exactly the same. It's impossible to have something 165 and 5 hours later 165.
He says he could not even find a thermometer in the VA kitchen, so he brought one in from his own. According to a complaint he says he filed with the VA, Berkowitz alleges management did not address the issues upon being notified.
They didn't care. They didn't. In fact, he said, "You're not allowed to take pictures." That's what he told me. So I don't care.
And in another instance, Berkowitz says the ingredients of a soup were being misrepresented.
I said, "What kind of soup was this?" I went to the manager. Vegetarian. There was ham scraps floating in it. I said to the managers, "They're putting ham in the soup." You know what his answer was? "Tell them it's chicken soup." Quote unquote.
7 on Your Side reached out to the Palo Alto VA for further comment on these allegations and the images that were shared. We received the following statement saying the VA initiated an investigation in January 2025 to examine Mr. Berkowitz's allegations. After a thorough review, which included interviews with Veterans Canteen Service or VCS staff and Mr. Berkowitz, the allegations were unsubstantiated. The VA contracts with EcoShore, a third-party auditing company, to conduct inspections. The hospital told 7 on Your Side that Palo Alto VA's restaurant facility, known as the Veterans Canteen Service, passed its latest unannounced inspection in May of last year with no findings of unsafe or hazardous conditions. But that inspection was 6 months before Mr. Berkowitz even started as a volunteer. So we asked if any follow-up inspections took place since then. Still, no word from the VA. In fact, the agency was unwilling to give us a copy of the inspection report it claims it passed last year. So we followed up with some simple questions. How often do these inspections occur? And when do they even start? Still no answer. So our only other option was to file a Freedom of Information Act request, also known as a FOIA, to find out. Which brings us back to Berkowitz. Why do you think they let you go?
Because I stirred up too much. That's why. Holding them to a quality standard that they didn't like.
The veteran chef himself.
There's my customers.
Wrote a list of the veterans that would greet him in the food line every day. He says all he wants for them is a safe experience. Plus,
I want my job back. Let's see if they give it to me.
For 7 on Your Side, I'm Stephanie Sierra, ABC 7 News.
Dude, what a nice man. Like, what the fuck, dude? He he looked like he had his own fucking tennis court. He ain't got to be there volunteering, dude.
Either that, or maybe it could be the local club or whatever. But he belongs to a club. He's doing well for himself. He's got his own businesses. He's volunteering, like he's volunteering his time, and he's telling you he's volunteering that, hey guys, like you're doing it wrong. I know what I'm doing. You're doing it wrong. Now, in the greater scheme of the VA, this is pretty commonplace and pretty not very surprising. And in the greater scheme of government bureaucracy and government services, not terribly surprising that things like this do occur, that things are allowed to fester because no one's paying attention, or people are dropping the ball, or they're counting on volunteers who may not be as well versed or as diligent as Mr. Berkowitz to do this work, right? And they're just sort of going through the motions and not really thinking twice about things, and they're told to do something and they should go ahead and do it. Whereas this guy he knows what he's doing and he knows what's right. So maybe another volunteer, reading the thermometer or looking for a thermometer wouldn't know you need to test the temperature of these things, just doesn't have that ability, and he's got it, and now he's calling them on it. And any kind of change, right? If they kind of change their policies and their procedures, if they're going to get safer, it's going to cost more money and more resources and more time, no matter what. And they're just not interested in like many government institutions, not interested in making those shifts and spending that time and resources, because they're in like they're just constant existential mode. Like, we're just going to maintain what we've got and maintain my job and keep my job and keep our funding. And if we make any waves at all, it's going to just throw all of our shit into a mess, or I'm not making enough to care. Like he says, they don't give a shit. Their attitude would be, you're not paying me enough. The government isn't paying me enough to care. I'm doing this because I'm making a sacrifice to do this job in the first place, right? That would be their response. So, it's good that he's calling them on it. I really hope they do get their shit together. I'm not confident that they will. I don't think he's getting his job back, but hopefully he'll find better things and more productive things to do with his time. But I feel for him and his customers, as he said, because he obviously cares about them a lot.
He very much. He knew all their names. He's like, here's a list of the people that I don't get to see anymore that I say hi to and remember. Like, come on, this was like the nicest guy at that fucking place for sure.
And he's in a situation, for him, it's like a there for the grace of God situation, right? Like, I am a veteran. This could easily be me, right? That's going there and it could be me eventually that's going there for meals. And I want to make sure that for me and for my friends and my people, that this is safe. These are my people. This is my, my posse. And I got to make sure that we're looking out for them. They've gone through too much to deal with. And absolutely, they've definitely gone through too much to have to deal with overheated, day-old burgers.
Or underheated, actually. They've been stored at.
Well, apparently, yeah, right. Well, I guess it was like they're cooked, so they've got to maintain a certain temperature until you're supposed to put them in the fridge, freeze them. You can keep them on the food line or whatever for a certain amount of time, but then they've got to be refrigerated. So I think it seemed to be the case with some things, but again, this guy knows. I don't know. So good on him for calling them on it. Do I think things are going to change? Not necessarily. But as long as there's someone out there, otherwise this would never get exposed and we wouldn't even hear about it. So I hope maybe it'll cause some reflection, some critical mass.
Well, let's move on to Down Ballot Watch here. It doesn't look like we have any recall news this week, but we do have looks like CalExit. There's people who want to secede from the union, and it looks like they need to start over with their ballot initiative. And let's learn a little bit more about this from KPIX.
It's recall adjacent.
Signature deadline. The leaders of the California secession movement, CalExit, have decided to pull their attempted ballot initiative, the movement to make California an independent nation. But plans to refile it are already in motion. So Max Darrow has been following this for several months now. He's here to explain with some new information. Max.
Yeah, Juliet, I spoke with one of the leaders of the movement, the guy who really helped bring this to fruition, and he says they got close to their signature goal, but they don't want to chance it not meeting the threshold that's actually required by the Secretary of State's office. So by refiling, they'll have to start from scratch with these signatures, but the leader is actually doubling down on this effort and thinks a new approach is going to be the solution. After After months of signature gathering for a ballot initiative, the CalExit secession movement is taking a detour. Marcus Ruiz-Evans is a leader of the movement.
We are going to refile the ballot initiative so that we can start the clock back for 5.5 months.
Proponents had until July 22nd to submit just under 547,000 signatures to the Secretary of State's office for the initiative to qualify for the 2028 ballot.
We felt that we had the requisite number of signatures, but we did not have the installation amount. So you want to get about 550,000 signatures, but most people will tell you need an additional 100 to 300,000 because a lot of those signatures will be invalidated. Given that this is a radical political concept, we figured it'd be under high level of scrutiny.
The initiative would not be a vote for California to actually secede. It would put the non-binding question, should California leave the United States and become a free and independent country, on the 2028 ballot, and if passed, it would create an official commission to study California's viability as an independent nation.
There are some people that are going to say, Marcus, CalExit failed. What do you say to those people?
I say based on what? We didn't get enough signatures this time? Okay.
He points to
like him.
marijuana and gay marriage that took several attempts and many years to come to fruition.
Both of those movements took about 10 to 12 years to go from that'll never happen to full-blown legality.
Ruiz-Evans says they're changing their approach, the strategy shifting from a grassroots feel to that of a professional operation. And as tensions continue to rise within the current political atmosphere,
climate's riper than ever, and the soil's more fertile than it's been in 10 years.
So he says there are big outreach events coming, and they plan to increase educational strategies so they can try and clear that threshold on the next go, Jules.
Yeah, okay, so the next go, when is that going to be? The signatures, getting them again?
So they have a deadline of refiling by mid-August. Ruiz-Evans says they're going to be refiling at the very beginning of August, and from there they hope to start gathering signatures in September.
All right, thanks for following this from day one.
We'll be watching closely.
Max, thank you.
I think this isn't going to really go anywhere.
Yeah, I mean, if they didn't get anywhere the first time, like he said, that the climate is ripe for something like this: recalls, exits, referendums, overturning ousting incumbents, overturning policies like that. It's very much that kind of a time out there right now. So if this didn't succeed already and get to enough signatures, I'm impressed that they got over 500K or 550 or whatever they need. They're right; you do need a buffer, no matter how outlandish or wild and crazy the ballot measure is. You're going to end up with a lot of invalid. You're going to end up with a lot of Mickey Mouses because you paid people to collect signatures, and when you pay people to do something like that, you're going to end up with a lot of invalid petitions. A lot of really interesting B-roll, by the way, in that clip. They were trying to fill space, it seemed like here's his hands gripping the wheel. Here's him looking out the windshield. Here's him changing his radio station. Here's him showing, walking you through the petition, which is pretty, it's all the petitions
like the beginning of a movie almost, right?
Right. It's like, what's going on here? We're leading in. But completely agree. They haven't failed. It's just this effort to do this thing failed. The movement goes on. The concept goes on. It's not a new concept either. It's something that a lot of us have thought about. Why not? We're the fourth largest economy in the world. We're shit tons more progressive than most of the rest of this country that we belong to. So why the hell not? Right? Well, I would love to have that debate. I would love to be able to have that debate. I don't know where I'd come down, honestly, at the end of the day.
I don't. So there's obvious logistical problems, with the United States then just immediately invade California, which is,
or call in martial law or something.
Right. Yeah. That's what I'm saying is and then the people that fucking did it end up on treason charges and shit. This is. I don't think this is gonna work. I don't think it's going to work. But I think it's a better idea that, do you remember when those right-wing group tried to split California? They were split California into 5. And then, and then you kind of looked at where they split everything up. You're like, oh, you just created 3 blue states and 2 red states.
Right. You just created tech bro state and Central Valley farmer state. And, if you want to just segregate the state, a very diverse state, you've effectively done it. The state of Jefferson, right? and then there was a Bay Area state, so we could be our own little enclave. I also don't think this is going very far. I think there's better things we can be doing to assert California's, whatever prominence, dominance, whatever we want to call it, and we can do more. I do agree. I mean, it's a commonly cited stat, but California gives much more than it takes. Like our tax dollars. There are a lot more of our tax dollars going out of California than coming back from Washington.
I think one year it just so happened that the number was almost exactly the same amount as California's budget deficit, like
something like that, right? And so it was very convenient.
It wasn't like that's not like that every year. It was just kind of I forget what it was. It was like maybe 8 years ago or 10 years ago, where it wasn't like to the dollar, but it was like it was so close that it's like, well, this seems a little fucked.
Well, it's very easy to politicize it, though, too. It makes it very easy to politicize it. When at the end of the day, yes, more money is going out to the federal government, but that also belies the fact that people in Californians are receiving benefits from the federal government that those tax dollars are paying for. Are they receiving, requisite to what they are putting into the system? Maybe that's a debate we can have, but they are getting services from federal government that those tax dollars pay for. So it's not as though we're just giving that money away and it's going to Florida or Alabama or North Dakota, right? It's coming back to California in some way.
And I think most civically minded Californians are perfectly happy that some of their tax dollars goes to help like states that have much higher levels of poverty, like
I'm fine with
Arkansas or whatever. I think a lot of Californians are like, well, that's actually good. I'm glad that our economic largesse is helping people in other places and whatnot.
Yeah, for sure. It's the covenant we've kind of all accept here, right? I understand that I don't necessarily politically align with a lot of folks in let's just pick a state out of a hat and say we'll go back to Arkansas. Because I would like to go to Arkansas. I don't necessarily have a lot politically or values-wise maybe in common with most Arkansasians, but I'm more than happy to make sure that the largesse we have and my tax dollars are supporting people there, because we're all in this together and we all should be supporting each other. That's what this whole American concept is about. So yes, absolutely. But I will also point out, just to take again the other side and the devil's advocate position, there's abject poverty right here, right in your town, right around the corner from you, down your street, in your building even. There's poverty on my street. So it's not as though it doesn't exist here in California, and that we're all. In fact, in many ways, the income inequality and the inequality is even greater here than it is in other states. And so it seems like we have affluence, but in reality, we have 3,900 people in San Jose living on the street, right? So it is kind of there is a lot that can be done, I think, to reinvest in California, but I don't necessarily think it's all the money we send off to the feds. And
I mean, some of it is just that 1 in 10 Americans lives in California.
Correct. Yeah, and it's just that's we're dealing with that too. So, but again, I would love to have this debate in a more academic, structured, data-driven way to look at what it would and a community-driven way to see what it would actually look like, and what that would actually mean. Because we talk a lot about it, and I've even joked about it, but it's important for us to understand all the implications of what it is to run a nation state too. On top of that.
Right. And I mean, then what happens if California has to invade somebody? I don't know. It seems like a problem.
Right. Well, Gavin Newsom's going to figure that out for us, so don't worry about that. He's going to take California uber alles nationwide. So we're our final story here on the down ballot watch. Our esteemed governor is beginning to make the very obvious rounds in his presidential run for 2028, and his latest stop was in a place where every California governor should spend a lot of time: South Carolina.
Welcome back. Governor Newsom just made his first stop of his second day in a South Carolina tour, fueling some speculation that he'll make a run for the White House in 2028.
No, he's not preaching to the choir, as they say. He's actually in a county that voted for Mr. Trump in the last election. Today at the base, Chris Sanchez joining us from the newsroom. Can
we just pause for a second? I love Laura Garcia's, if you can go back, Laura Garcia's sort of tilted head. Look right here, this is sus.
Today at the base, Chris Sanchez joining us from the newsroom with what he's saying to South Carolina voters and what that says to the rest of us. Chris?
Well, a lot of us have been listening for a very long time to hear, and he just said this morning, we can't let Donald Trump win. Take a listen.
When Dobbs hit, I mean, if we didn't wake up to what is going on, this expansion of rights, the national expansion of rights, now to rights regression.
Yeah.
And we're seeing that acceleration happening in real time. You've got a guy that wants to bring us back to a 1960s world, a pre-1960s world, on voting rights, civil rights, LGBTQ rights, certainly on women's rights, not just access to abortion, but also reproductive care.
Now, in this speech and yesterday's, Newsom condemned President Trump's immigration policy, specifically mentioning the show of force by federal immigration agents at an LA park where children were at a summer camp, which was also a day that Texas was reeling from devastating flooding and a rising death toll. A national poll shows Newsom as one of the front runners among Democrats who could run for president. South Carolina's Democratic Party facilitated this trip, they say, to bring national Democratic leaders to communities overlooked by the GOP and left behind following disasters. A spokesperson for a bipartisan voter data firm believes Newsom has made a shift toward a 2028 run for president.
I think this visit and also some of the things that the governor said recently have signaled a shift. Remember, he at one point said that he had sub-zero interest in running for president. And right now he's essentially saying things might have changed. He's not committing, but he is saying that that's a possibility that could actually happen.
So there are 18 months before the election. South Carolina's presidential vote has gone Republican in 13 of the last 14 elections. The battleground state hasn't set the date of its primary yet, but it is expected to be among the first. Marcus?
Well, and that's exactly why he's going to South Carolina.
Yeah. He's running for president. It's pretty clear.
There is no place, there's no universe where the California governor needs to go to, there's no reason to go to South Carolina to make speeches in like the penultimate year of his term in office in California, right? Other than you're running for president on a Democratic ticket. That's the only reason. And so I hope that when he stops in New Hampshire and then when he pops into Iowa in the coming weeks and months, that the news will not be like, maybe. It's like the fucker is running. Like, come on, let's get over it, Paul Mitchell. And I know Paul Mitchell; he's a very good guy. He's a good data guy. But come on, let's get real.
We'll see. We'll see. And there's a lot of time left. They show Pete Buttigieg on there. He doesn't seem to be making any noise, any indication at all that he might be running.
Even if he was, they're all bunched up. Like that's not a very 16, 7 for AOC, 12 for Newsom. It's all within the margin of error. It's all just, numbers. It's not, there's no one far and away. There is no front runner in this race. There is I would even venture to guess that, we don't know the 2028 Democratic contender may not even be on the radar right now yet.
Right.
They may be out there, but we're not even thinking of them right now as a presidential contender. Like, it's kind of like an AOC, only AOC is being talked up a lot because there's not a lot of depth. There's not a lot of pipeline. There's no, the reason why Joe Biden was president was because there's not a lot of pipeline of people who are well-known commodities within Democratic circles. Barack Obama wasn't a complete unknown in 2007 and 2008. He was a very well-known commodity, in fact, within Democratic Party circles. And there was, in fact, a huge movement within the party to draft him to run for president. And I was a part of that. So, we may not know who the person is yet, because that in 2005, Obama was not necessarily, a front runner or a known commodity, but he was moving up in the ranks, and he was known within the party. So you could end up with an AOC. I think you could end up with someone else, maybe even a Cory Booker if he wants to get back into this, because there's no far and away leader of the party. There's no one who's like the voice or the assumed nominee or even like a challenger dark horse. Like, everyone is sort of on level ground. That's why Gavin's exploring this. That's why I think you'll see a lot of other people explore it. What's her name from I'm always forgetting her name, from Michigan, the governor, Gretchen. And then Pritzker, Josh Shapiro. I think you'll see Jared Polis, who's the governor of Colorado, jump into this at some point. He's LGBTQ, by the way. And doing a lot of great things in Colorado. So it's anyone's game at this point, and Gavin's just going to be,
Gavin's
another
going to
player.
get slammed during the primaries for fucking hobnobbing and dick sucking, basically. Charlie Kirk and Steve Bannon on his podcast, dude. There's a huge unforced error. He didn't. if he wanted to tack to the center, he didn't have to like a fucking glad hand with fascists on his
no, go
podcast.
talk. Just go talk to fucking farmers in Iowa. Don't talk to Charlie Kirk, right? And now those same farmers are going to mistrust him and distrust him already. They were already going to distrust him as the fancy-haired California, governor coming into
right.
Into
and if some of those farmers
land.
are like maybe libs or progressives or whatever, they're not going to trust him because he was perfectly happy to like do this anti-woke crap to basically grow his podcast.
And let's all remember that this is the guy who slept with his best friend's wife, or his campaign manager's wife during the campaign. So not exactly like a bastion of family values either.
No. But I think that ship has sailed. I don't think that stuff matters. But we'll see. He's got
nice hair though. Anyway, well, that's the docket writ large, and of course we always have another thing here on Downballot that's usually pretty fun. And if you're into Hello Kitty, but you're also into day drinking, we have the place for you.
Fans of a beloved cartoon character turned out in the South Bay very early this morning for the Bay Area's first Hello Kitty Cafe. It opened its doors at Westfield Valley Fair in Santa Clara, and it was a sea of pink as people lined up to enjoy the cafe's offerings, including strawberry lemonade, plenty of desserts as well, and we spoke with some of the first people in line. One group said they got to the mall around 4:30 this morning just for a chance to get some of those giveaways.
We are collectors of Hello Kitty, Labubus. We love pendants, all of that cute stuff.
Yeah, we're just super excited because we've been waiting for this place to open for like 2 years. And so we're really excited that it's finally open and, we can see all the Hello Kitty stuff and, we're excited.
The cafe also offers a special afternoon tea service in the Bow Room. Hello Kitty herself will be on hand all weekend long to take photos with fans. Alameda Brewing is celebrating 10 years of craft beer and community. The East Bay Brewery is throwing a 3-day party for the anniversary. It kicks off with a special VIP hour where guests can be the first to try out some beers. Earlier on the 9, we spoke live with the owner and general manager and the head brewer about what else is on tap, including a new hazy IPA called Basic Beach.
3-day celebration this weekend, and it's free to attend. We've got live music, we've got carnival games, we've got beer releases right here.
Beer.
Highlight a little bit, but
it's like a beer oasis, gents. So, Justin, what are some of the new beers you built?
This is our Juicy IPA. So, still has some of those West Coast components, a little dry, it's a little dinky, but at the same time you pick up a lot of this like overripe papaya and guava. Just like this.
Of course, our Sal Castaneda got a little taste of that beer.
Better.
The Brewing Taproom is on Park Street near Buena Vista Avenue, and the 10th anniversary festival runs all weekend long.
All right, we can cut this off now. I think we got some bonus stories here going on. But so, hey, a little 2-for-1 on another thing today. Are you going to be hitting up the Hello Kitty Cafe sometime soon, Producer Dave? You want to go with me?
I'd check it out. I've also, there was some rumors going around that this beer, because this is a little small little community in the music scene. People talk. They were talking about the live music there. They were asking people to play for free.
Oh, that Alameda Brewco?
That was the rumor. Rumor has it they were asking people to play for free.
I was going to say, Hello Kitty won't be asking anyone for free. I would assume if they
for this 10-year anniversary thing.
Oh, okay,
I
figured they would
people in exposure.
Oh, I figured, if Hello Kitty comes to you, they're definitely paying Producer Dave to
Hello
drop
Kitty
some serious
if you DJ
beats.
at the Hello Kitty thing, you probably get paid quite well.
For sure. Yeah, and they totally skipped over the fact that there is absolutely alcohol on the menu at that place. There is a fancy frou-frou Hello Kitty cocktail menu. In fact, if you go to the website, that's the lead of the menu. If you go to menu, the kitty stuff and all this sugary sweet stuff and the pastries is all at the bottom. It leads with all the fancy cocktails. So go with your kids. You'll have fun. They'll have fun. Even your non-alcoholic, sister-in-law will have fun at this place. There's something for everyone. Something for everyone at the Hello Kitty Cafe. And you can stop by Italy on the way out, too.
Well, fantastic. That was, I'm glad we got to do this docket because, we slacked on it or whatever, but glad we got to do this docket. And with that, do you want to read the show out?
Absolutely. Well, thank you as always for joining us. You can follow Downballot as well as all of the other wonderful content from our network at echoplexmedia.com. Twitch.tv/echoplexmedia is the place to watch. And you can download this show and many others on the favorite podcatcher of your choice. We hope that you will have a wonderful week as always. We do this show just about every Tuesday night at 7:30 Pacific, except when we don't. So please just check our Blue Skies and all of our socials to find out when it's happening. Check the website. If you are out there and you haven't been vaccinated yet, you got to get that done. It's kind of late, but you get it done. Wear a mask where it's appropriate. Pants are totally optional. We're going to leave you with some audible smoke as usual. We hope you have a wonderful weekend. We'll see you when we see you. Peace out.
Time to get the party started. Pick up my phone just to check and see who's calling. Dress up real nice for the ladies at the bar, and I'm driving in my car just to get to where they are. Here at the local scene is where I plant my feet. It's where I smoke my cigarette and I hold my drink. I look at all my friends, they're all blazing green. Here at the front of the stage waiting for MTV. Where are those guys who's standing next to me with a pipe in his hand ready to blaze for me? About 5 minutes later we're all singing Queen. Now get the fuck up on stage and rock the scene, yeah. We do what we want, and what we want is to jam. So sit back and enjoy the band. We do what we want, and what we want is to jam. So sit back and enjoy the band. Enjoy that band. I turn and head back to the bar for a refill, man, because you know where we are. We're headed out to the car to smoke another one and another one. Now just when the magic starts kicking in, I hear relapse playing, it's time to head in. Alright everybody, now it's time to grab a new drink. Spark it if you got it and then pass it to me, yeah. We do what we want, and what we want is to jam. So sit back and enjoy the band. We do what we want to do, and what we want is to jam. So sit back and enjoy the band. Enjoy that band. Last up on the bill for the show tonight is Down and Dirty at 5, so we're headed outside to spark up another joint. Now who's got my lighter? Stoner E, of course, shouldn't you be inside? I'm all up in this bitch, being who I gotta be. I'm fucked up like the U.S. economy. The truth is that I don't think logically. Stoner E take you on a psychedelic odyssey. Now inside motherfuckers is rocking me, and outside shit we smoke a lot of broccoli. Rocky the roller, yo, that sexy girl be jocking me. Ain't too drunk to fuck, but I'll probably do it sloppily. We do what we want, what we wanna do, and what we want is to jam. So sit back and enjoy the band. Enjoy the band, enjoy the band. We do what we want, what we wanna do, and what we want is to jam. So sit back and enjoy the band. Molly say that he like jamming, and he hope he like jamming too. Well, I gotta say, thank you, Bob, we do. Yes,